Welcome inside the studio. Jeremy St. Louis alongside Chip Patterson. Chip, I mean, we've had reports that Quinn Ewers is considering coming back to Texas, but I mean, should he actually rethink that based on the performance that he had today?
He very well could get the kind of response that allow him to be able to move up into that position, not necessarily QB1 or QB2, but in the modern NFL draft ecosystem, he could be a later first-round pick, and that could be something he wants to pursue. He's going to have conversations with Steve Sarkisian. He's going to have conversations with the Texas offensive staff, which also likely has some plans for Malik Murphy, for Arch Manning. Very crowded quarterback room, but if the Longhorns get into the college football playoff, then those will be other opportunities for Ewers to see if he can impress the NFL scouts. But tremendous performance. You could tell he spent all week with Sark making sure that he was dialed in on exactly how they wanted to attack this Oklahoma State defense, and then to be able to take that game plan and put it into practice and just be so sharp. I mean, 12 out of 12 right out of the gate, 14 out of 15. Just that is the kind of statement that you want to make to impose your will on the opponent. Very impressed by Quinn Ewers here.
Now, how impressed do you think the committee are?
Very. This is a committee that, as Jerry Palm has mentioned to us, has taken margin of victory as perhaps an even bigger factor than previous committees. I mean, remember, 13 individuals, they're all humans. They cycle in and out, a couple of them every single year, so every committee is a snowflake. They're all different, and they all have their tendencies. And to go and put a big number on the board, well, when it comes time to splitting hairs between one-loss teams, Texas walked into that building with the best daggum non-conference win in the country, beating Alabama and Bryant-Denny. Now they have one of the most impressive title game performances blowing out Oklahoma State.
Okay, so let's talk Chipolytics here because you've got the pad with you.
Right.
Where are we at with Texas winning the Big 12?
So Texas winning the Big 12 eliminates 4 scenarios from the group of 16. We have 4 scenarios left, and this really all comes down to, and Jeremy, I've been telling you this, it is Alabama over Georgia. It is Florida State over Louisville. Those 2 combinations mean hearts will be broken. And maybe it is the Texas Longhorns, or maybe it is the Florida State Seminoles, which might be 13-0 and not in the college football playoff. Look, I don't think the committee has biases, but if they want to sleep well tonight, they kind of want Louisville to win after seeing Texas win against Oklahoma State.
Well, that's the one thing we do know. Washington has won. Texas has won. They've done what they need to do in terms of getting into the playoff. Now they have to wait and see. But the one thing we know, Texas are your Big 12 champions for this season. All right, so we have championship coverage all day and night. Highlights, reaction here on CBS Sports HQ. We have title games to come. Of course, we're talking about the Big Ten, the SEC game, the ACC, all going to impact how the playoff picture develops over the next 24 hours. So let's discuss this with Jerry Palm and get the implications of this result. So, Jerry, as mentioned, Texas did what they needed to do. So in terms of the playoff, what does that path look like right now?
Yeah, that's a big win for Texas. I don't know that they needed to make a statement today because the one they made back on September 9th in Tuscaloosa is more important. But Texas now at 12-1 should be the highest rated one-loss team when the rankings come out on Sunday. However, they could still be 5th because there are 4 undefeated teams left. Of course, Washington's in the barn already, but 3 others are playing today. And if we end up with 4 undefeated teams, Texas will be the odd man out. But if someone loses, it opens the door for Texas to get into the college football playoff.
Jerry, what does the margin of victory for Texas do for them in this spot?
Well, it erases any sort of doubt that they might have been, unprepared to play or maybe finishing weakly. You know, it's a subjective thing. But the margin, this is a committee that has really taken to margins more than other committees have in the past. So, this is a team that's lower ranked than them. They went out and beat them like they should, maybe even better than they should. And I think that if there's any doubt in the mind of committee members, this is a performance that should erase that.
Yeah, you see them sitting there in the college football playoff rankings at 7. Those rankings will be updated, of course, tomorrow when the final rankings come out. But Texas sitting at 12-1 after winning the Big 12. All right, we're getting set for Georgia and Alabama in the SEC title game. We know Bama has to win to have any shot at getting in. Is it automatic if they do win, or is there a scenario, Jerry, where an SEC team is not part of the playoff?
Yeah, it's Alabama winning, because if Georgia wins, they're in. If Alabama wins, now you need more help because Texas is still their ceiling. They've been their ceiling in the CFP rankings all season long because of the win at Alabama, and they're still the ceiling even if they beat Georgia. So Texas needs one team to lose in order to get to 4. Well, Alabama needs 2 because Texas has got to get to 3 if Alabama has a chance to get to 4. Alabama obviously has to win to make this conversation relevant at all. If they lose, they're completely out, and Georgia is in and the number 1 seed.
It's amazing for the SEC to think that if Bama was to upset Georgia, that might mean that no SEC team makes the playoff, but Georgia wins, and then they've got one in. It's an incredible scenario. We could get the chaos that we have, some of us at least, have been craving. Jerry, given that the playoff is expanding next year to 12 teams, there's going to be 1- and 2-loss teams in the mix. So is these conference championship games, are these the last consequential title games in terms of the playoff?
Not necessarily, because the top 4 seeds in the playoff are conference champions. So if you want to bye, you have to win your conference. Now, all of the conference champions are going to be at least 6 or 5 in the playoff. Can't all get byes, but if you want to bye, you have to be a conference champion. So these games will still matter in terms of the college football playoff.
Yeah, the way the playoff works, 6 conference champions will get in next year, and then the 6 next highest ranked teams, as Jerry mentioned, the top 4 will get a bye. Okay, so Jerry, I got to ask you, what about chaos? Okay, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, all fall. So what does the playoff look like?
Georgia, Michigan, Florida State all fall. I believe that Michigan is still in because their floor is Ohio State in terms of how far they can drop. And then you'll have Washington, of course, the number 1 seed, and then Texas and Alabama both get in.
All right, Jerry Palm joining us to discuss playoff scenarios after Texas managed to win the Big 12. Thanks very much, Jerry. Great to see you. And, of course, we'll see Jerry throughout the day tomorrow as the final rankings are released. All right, so for more on this stuff and all the permutations, we talked about Chipalytics. Chip has 16 different scenarios. I think we're down to 4 now, right, Chip? 4. All right, Chip and his crew, they've got reaction to the games tonight, emergency pods, I would imagine, tomorrow, reacting to the final playoff rankings. Chip's going to be on TV tomorrow. It's a busy day for Chip. But the Cover 3 podcast is where you want to check it all out, download and follow wherever you get your podcasts.